The next time I ate a crow, I was 16. I spotted it at a park and immediately knew it was the one. Its feathers were a deep, rich black, like charcoal, and its beak had an unusual shape, curving subtly inward at the tip. Whether as a result of some old injury or that's just how it grew, I'm no bird expert, so I can't really say. All I knew was that it made my mouth water just looking at it. This time, my hunting method was a tad more refined. I lured the creature to the ground with some food, and while it was busy snacking, I ambushed it with the rim of my tennis racket. It took several hits to fully incapacitate it, and then I ended its suffering with a quick stomp to the head. I didn't want it to struggle. That was never the point. I'm not some sicko sadist. I just needed it dead. If I had a more painless and effective way to do it, I would have gone for that. I looked around and, ensuring I had no audience, knelt beside the lifeless bird. The smell was unappetizing but also intoxicating. Blood and earth, each whiff igniting something within me. I don't know what it was, but it felt right. As I sank my teeth into the stringy, warm flesh, the familiar metallic tang spilled across my tongue. The initial resistance of sinew gave way, and my incisors severed through muscle, stretching and snapping like a taut rubber band. I clamped down harder. My teeth started to ache as they hit bone. I tried to bite off its head, but it was both way too hard and way too messy, so I stuck to chewing through the soft middle part. Probably the worst part of the whole experience was the bits of intestines that kept getting stuck between my molars. When I was finished, I buried what was left and went home like nothing ever happened. Indulging my eccentric compulsion became a lot easier once I was old enough to legally purchase a firearm. I honestly don't know how I haven't gotten sick yet. I've tried cooking the meat, but it just isn't the same. I know what I'm doing can't be healthy, but then again, we all have our vices. Some people smoke, others rely on alcohol to dull the pain of daily existence. I just happen to enjoy munching on raw crows from time to time. In the grand scheme of self-destructive habits, I'd say mine is pretty manageable. Other than that one thing, I've had a pretty normal life up until recently. I graduated, went to college, got a job, a wife, and a mortgage. We were even talking about trying for a kid once we're a bit more financially stable. She obviously had no clue about my quirky little habits. Over the past few weeks, I've been toying with the idea of telling her, but I guess it's too late now. Yesterday, the boss let us off earlier than usual. Most of my coworkers headed out for drinks, but I was really looking forward to going home and surprising the wife. Maybe take her out on a nice long drive across town like we used to do. But when I pulled up in our driveway, I immediately sensed something was wrong. All the lights were off. The front door was hanging open, swaying in the cold December wind. Upon closer inspection, I realized that the lock was broken. Heart racing, I rushed inside. The darkness welcomed me back with indifference. I called out for my wife. The echo of her name hung in the still air, but only silence answered. My eyes darted around, searching for any signs of life, any movement whatsoever. That's when I heard it. A grotesque cacophony of caws and wet gurgles. It led me deeper into the bowels of the house, where the light from a broken window spilled onto the floor. The dreadful scene it illuminated shattered my entire world. There, sprawled across our kitchen, among the jagged beams of steel and fragmented glass, was Rachel. Her head hung at an awkward angle, her lifeless eyes wide and glassy as they bored into me. Hunched over her was something I'm having a hard time describing even now. Hairless and pink, its leathery skin extends over a body that's disturbingly humanoid, yet incorrect. It has a torso, shoulders, and legs that seem only partially formed, reminiscent of an oversized premature fetus. Instead of arms, it has a pair of stunted wings lacking feathers, and its skull is shaped like that of a crow, though disproportionately large for its scrawny frame. I just stood there, helpless and watching as it probed Rachel's mangled remains with its beak. A part of me wanted to lash out at the thing, grab the nearest chair and beat it to a bloody pulp. But at the same time, I couldn't fully bring myself to hate it for what it had done. It's okay if you eat it after, right? The circle of life and all that. I may be a freak, perhaps not entirely right in the head, but I'll be damned if I add hypocrite onto that. It's still there in the kitchen, picking at my wife's dead body. I'm waiting for it to finish. I have my 9mm on my lap and a hatchet ready. I'll update you guys on how it tastes.